Hi again. My gosh. Okay, now I got it on my phone now, so I'm hoping that this is going to work. I'm Dr. Joanny Liu again, and welcome to Rapid Injury Recovery, and today's topic is about how to stop extreme headaches, okay? So I think a lot of people know what headaches are. It's a pain in the head. Now, what makes it extreme besides the pain? At first, there could be very extreme headache pain, very acute stabbing pain, that sort of thing. And we usually differentiate based on that type of pain as well. But the thing is that what makes headaches really extreme is the fact that a lot of them become constant companions. They become very persistent. They wake you up at night. And I got my notes here. You often stop what you're doing because you have a severe headache. And the other thing is that you start getting afraid of them. You start assuming that these things are now coming in, okay? That the thing is that you start expecting to have a headache, and that is exactly the thing that you should not be doing. So because you think that headaches are going to interfere with your life, then you start working around them. You stop enjoying life because you're afraid of them coming back into your life, okay? So a few weeks ago, I talked about some Chinese medical anatomy, about the meridians and the organs, and what these clues, where you're actually hit when you have a concussion, can give you clues about the situation that you're in. Because what we're really talking about is the fact that you are stressed out by something, you're very unhappy by something, you're really heavily bothered and bogged down by something in your life, at least one thing in your life that doesn't seem to go away, okay? And then one day something happens to you. So in this case, it could be a concussion. It could be somewhere else in your body that has been affected, because nothing is ever really a mystery in life. There are reasons why something hurts you, okay? This is because emotional pain is real pain. Emotional pain is real pain. And when it escalates into something like a concussion, or more than one concussion, then you know that you haven't solved the problem that is right in front of you, okay? Maybe you don't know what it is that's going on, because a lot of people do suffer from general anxiety and worry. And at that point, they really don't know why something has happened, why they're so upset. But the thing is like I said, there really is no mystery. Okay, so as you recall, if you know anything about me, my adult son suffered a very severe concussion on the right side of his head, okay? So we're talking about the gallbladder in here. So he was suffering from major indecision about his situation. You can read all about this in Heal Your Concussion. Okay, how to quickly and effectively get back in the game, because I talk about this story over and over again because it's a very important one to illustrate exactly what is going on with him, but also with you and with other people. Okay? So the headaches didn't start for him right away. They started some hours later. But the thing is that they were very severe right at the beginning, and, stabbing pain. And then they weren't so painful, but they were very constant companions for him, and he couldn't sleep. And when he finally could sleep, he was totally exhausted. And that was when the headaches didn't bother him, because he was totally exhausted. But you see, I didn't actually treat the headaches per se. I didn't treat the symptoms so much, and that's the key. A headache is definitely a symptom of a concussion, okay? Any soreness anywhere else in the body, any other issues like that, they are all symptoms I had to find out what in fact was stressing this young man out. And that is the most important thing, is being able to identify what those things are. So, okay. So if you've got headaches in the temples like he did, you know, just above your ears and around there, okay, I want you to ask yourself, what decisions am I not making? What decisions am I avoiding? You really need to have a heart to soul talk with yourself about what are the things that you are avoiding, that you really need to deal with in your life today, because they're so important that they're really bothering you and causing you this trouble, okay? Nobody needs this. So the faster that you can start dealing with whatever that problem is, the better you're going to be, okay? Or on the other hand, another thing is what's making you angry. If you're having eye problems, like in the case of migraines, or in the case of my son going temporarily blind, you know, that's another clue, okay? Because again, it's about what's making you angry. And on the one hand, and the other hand is, what is it that you don't like looking at? What is it that you see that you don't want to see? In his case, it was the boss that was at the office, and he didn't want to work for this guy, but you know, he had to face him every day. But he didn't want to do that. And okay, so if the headaches are in the front of your head, like on the forehead, what are you thinking about over and over about? Now, when I was studying Chinese medicine, they said that for the spleen and stomach meridians, they're affected by overthinking. And after some years, when I started practicing, I started to wonder, you know, what does that really mean, overthinking? Well, what it really means is that you're worried. I mean, whenever you're worried, you're thinking about something over and over again because you're afraid that it's going to happen. And the thing is that the brain does not differentiate between imaginary and real, okay? Because if you're worried about something, it's going to set off all the stress hormones in your body, even though nothing has actually happened. So whether it's imaginary or real, you're going to set off stress hormones. You're going to start off that stress reaction, and it's just going to cause havoc. Okay? So what are you thinking about over and over again? What are you worried about that's causing you so much distress? Okay, now, if the headaches are on the top of your head, then this is where the main chakra is, right? The crown chakra. So this is where information is supposed to be coming in to your inner self. So what happiness have you denied yourself? What truths about yourself are you denying? You know, like, we all make mistakes, and some of us have made some really bad mistakes. I mean, really bad mistakes. So punishable by our justice systems and whatnot, you know, things that people do in wars and all this. But I assure you that God still loves you, no matter what mistakes you think you've made. And He doesn't forgive people because He doesn't need to. Okay, I want that to sink in. I know that for a lot of people, they think that God is and I thought so too when I was very young, that God is somebody, is an entity that punishes, but actually He's just really patiently waiting for you to make good on your life, to use all that potential that you really have to make good on your life, because He wants you to do the best that you possibly can, and He's just waiting for you. So in His eyes, there are no mistakes, okay? There are no mistakes, and we have to forgive ourselves for any of the things that we think that we've done either intentionally or accidentally, because that forgiveness is really for us. It doesn't really do the other person. If we hurt somebody else, it doesn't really do them much good, but it does us a heck of a lot of good. Okay? So the truth about you is that you have a lot of potential and you're not using it. So if the headaches are in the back of your head, are you worried about being judged? I had a client who had headaches that started in the neck and went up. Okay? She could not stand having people watch her work. If they were standing behind her watching her work, she couldn't stand it, because she was so afraid that people would discover that she wasn't that smart, that she didn't deserve to be where she was. But here she was actually a very successful executive who ran her own department, who had many people reporting to her. She had an acreage. She had a beautiful home. She had all this wonderful stuff, but she wasn't happy. And yet she should have been, okay? Because she felt she was a fraud. But obviously not everybody thought she was a fraud, or she wouldn't have been promoted all these many times. She wouldn't have been sought after. Everybody else thought she was great, but she didn't. And it really came down to when she was just a little girl, and she had a very critical father. Okay, a very, very critical dad that she wanted to please, who could never be pleased. And so this was so hard on her. And so she grew up with all this, even though she was ambitious and still worked towards all her goals and achieved them, she still felt like that little girl. Okay? So what we did, which is an exercise that I often work with most of my clients, it's actually an exercise that you can find in all 3 of my books, okay? But it's called the worry exercise. And I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail. What I'm going to do is just explain it really fast, okay? So basically, you write down all the things that worry you, okay? And then you ask yourself this question, for each one of them. So do I have any evidence that this is going to happen? Because really, a worry is something imaginary, usually. So this is a reality check. And so usually my clients will find that it's 1, maybe 2 things that really worry them. And those are the things that we focus on. So we come up with solutions, and I'm an accountability partner, so they have to work their work, okay? So they gotta work through that thing. And pretty soon, it's no longer a worry because they've taken care of it, and they feel good about it, okay? Their self-confidence goes way up, And for you guys who have chatter mind, who can't seem to quiet your mind, those are nagging thoughts. Those are thoughts that you've got to take out of your mind and put down on a piece of paper. Because I know that when I keep having a thought that comes back, every now and then, any thoughts that keep coming back, you've got to write it down because you need to deal with it, okay? Or at least you need to decide if it really is that important for you to deal with. But for a lot of people, there's a lot of chatter going on. So you've got to write down every single thing that's going on through your mind. And like with the worry thing, you decide whether it really is a concern or not, and you start eliminating them off your list. Really, you're going to feel a lot better because of it. But the thing is that you have headaches because headaches are really a metaphor for the things that bug you in your life. They really are. So what are those metaphoric headaches in your life that you haven't dealt with yet? So again, you make out a list and you do something about these things. Okay, now you either decide, okay, that's not that important, okay, this really is important. Come down to it, your highest priority, and you get on with it, okay? So that's what you can do in order to get rid of extreme headaches, because you have to deal with the things that are in your face that you need to deal with right now, right away, that you didn't deal with way back then when you first got your concussion, or your injured leg, or your injured arm, your shoulder, whatever it was. These are all signs that something was making you very deeply unhappy. All right. So until next week, and thank you, God, that I finally got this Facebook Live going. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, so much. I'll see you next week. And I probably won't be doing Periscope at the same time as Facebook anymore. We'll probably do them not right next to each other, but right one after the other, okay? Because, okay, that's just the way it is. I'm so happy to see you guys. All right, see you next week. Bye.